I made the point about this guy has been in the public domain for 15 years, criticizing the government, vile things against Ashley, saying everybody. But one time I said he has no integrity and he wants to sue. Well, I can substantiate that. In my view, he has absolutely no integrity, and I explain why. He was Deputy Auditor General hired under APNU in 1980s. We checked the terms of reference. We got his terms of reference as Deputy Auditor General for the job. One of his responsibilities was to help draft the audit report for that period. There was no audit report. So what it meant is that the sole purpose of the Auditor General at that time was to audit central government accounts. When the PPP got into office, we expanded that by changing the law to allow them to audit public corporations. But at that time, it was only central government accounts, public accounts. So their sole purpose for existing, the Auditor General and the Deputy Auditor General, was to submit audited statements to the Parliament. Now, they claimed that they were not getting the statements. So that meant that they collected money and did nothing, wages and salaries, Goolsarran, for all those years, because your primary output has to be audited public accounts. You collected money from the taxpayers' treasury for all those years. If you couldn't perform your task and you had integrity, you would say, listen, this is an unaccountable system. I can't perform my job, I'll resign. He did not resign. In fact, they hired him as Auditor General. He moved from Deputy to the Auditor General in 1990. And then he became Auditor General, and still he didn't submit any reports. The first report came in 1992, and guess what? He takes credit for that. He says he returned Guyana to accountability. What happened in 1992? Something major happened. The government changed the PPP, returned Guyana to accountability. So he had no integrity in that period. That is one. Two, and there are lots of things. I remember when he was seconded, he is coming to me. There are lots of things that will be in the affidavit because I was president. Came to me for wages increases numerous times. I said to him, I can't. It will trigger a generalized increase. He said, you can give me a loan. Or willing to throw his staff under the bus. I did not agree to that. Many times he wanted to keep the job, work abroad in the UN, and keep holding on to the post of Auditor General here. We had a big fight over that, Roger and myself. And that was one of the reasons I think he soured on us. And then his son, I think, became a member of the AFC and was on their list in 2006. So he was there. That's why I can speak about my personal experience with him. He lacks integrity. Now, professionally, he did an estimate, a so-called estimate, of money that was under the PPP, corruption through procurement fraud. This was repeated. This is the APNU manifesto document in 2015. Reducing procurement fraud estimated by Mr. Anand Goolsarran, the former Auditor General. So his name is mentioned in the APNU document to be about 28 to 35% of a total procurement spending of $140 billion. So we're talking about nearly $50 billion of fraud on the upper end. $50 billion of $140 billion was going to procurement fraud. Now, we invited him several times to tell us which projects. Only for $1 billion. Just account for $1 billion of procurement fraud, not 50. Until now, he has not done that. And the media should ask him, how come you estimated this? Is this not professional? I think malfeasance to some extent, maybe, but definitely no professional integrity. If you can't substantiate what you write, and I think it was written for the political opposition at that time to put in their manifesto because they quoted him. So up to now, he would have to say in court, because this would be one of my key things to point out, that this is not a professional work. It lacks integrity, this work that he did for APNU, or he did for himself, but he's unwilling to give an explanation. Because you were criticizing the PPP government. I'm and the PPP. I'm General Secretary of the party. You make all these outlandish claims, and we must not say, we don't believe. He refuses to substantiate these claims. Therefore, he has no integrity. No integrity whatsoever. And I will defend this because there are numerous cases. So he will have to go and show how he substantiated this, because he never made it public, the details. And it would be helpful if you in the media ask him about this. Where was the $50 billion in 2014 lost through procurement fraud? $50 billion per annum over $140 billion.